So, in my previous industry overview episode, which is here if you've missed it, I talk about the 3 key skills I think are most highly sought after in pharma for entry-level roles, and they are communication, time management, and ability to learn. So let's see how my opinion compares to the expertise of Manzoor. I really hope they do align.
What about skills then, that they should highlight? Are there maybe a top 3 that you kind of, when you look at a resume?
I mean, in general, especially someone who's fresh graduates, what we look for is the communication skill. That's the key, right? The collaboration, working within the team, that's very key. And the most importantly, the learning agility. Now, one thing you have to remember that just putting a skill doesn't mean that you'll get the job. I can learn how to play football, but if I'm not employing that skill in the football field, what's the point of gaining that skill, right? So when you demonstrate that I have the learning agility, give an example to prove that. So that's important.
Show us, right? Don't tell us.
Yeah.
Actually give us some evidence.
Like everybody's saying, oh, I'm good at communication. How? Right? So it's very common because you go online, you get an instruction, okay, how to build a resume, and people pick up some words and put that, right? But you have to have a story behind it. So that's
got some substance to it. We talk about in our industry, in pharma, you've got to be MA code compliant, and that's, balanced, evidence-based, and same with a resume, right?
Absolutely.
Evidence-based.
Absolutely.
So yeah, brilliant advice, thank you. What about if we look to what you've sort of alluded to, some of the most common mistakes that new entrants make, maybe, where you've seen it and you just want to face palm yourself? What are some bloopers that
I think the preparation is important, because to be honest with you, when somebody starts applying, they get to some extent desperate to get secure a position. Sometimes they lose track. And often when we call, they say, oh, which position is it about?
Oh, no.
It's not a good impression to start with. Right? So when you're applying, just keep a track of everything that, these are the positions that you applied for. Keep the job descriptions attached, because if you receive a call from the recruiter or the hiring manager, you should be able to link back to the job description and answer why you have applied for. So that is quite important tip that I would like to share.
Right, yeah. I can imagine that being quite also offensive.
Sometimes they get nervous about it. Also, there was an incident where they came for an interview and they were referring to a different company. And we corrected them during the interview, this is not that company, this is a different company. But they continued. Maybe because of nervous but still, you need to prepare.
Yeah, okay, so critical. I'm just like laughing in my head. I'm like, imagine when my girlfriend calls in, I'm like, sorry, which girlfriend is this?
Yeah, exactly. That can happen.
Oh, I'll be fired straight
You'll
away.
be fired, exactly. You definitely not going to get the job.
The digital age, especially for the new entrants, the millennials, they're so great at technology.
Yes.
Any advice for them on how they can build a personal brand, in particular on LinkedIn?
Absolutely, it's a very, very important question. Nowadays, what we, as a recruiter, what we do is, first we check the social media presence. So if you're planning to start your job search process, maybe look at your social media, Instagram, Facebook. What are your recent comments? I mean, there's nothing wrong about putting a comment, and we don't get biased about it, but you never know who's reading it, how they're interpreting certain comments. So maybe think about cleaning, if it needs to be, any comments or anything, any posts that you believe. If you believe in certain things, absolutely go for it. But you just have to think about that you have no control of how others are perceiving on them. So that's something I would suggest.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Now, if you've got friends who don't believe HR check your socials, share this video with them and make sure they are woke.
What about then, so that's maybe the housekeeping?
Yeah.
That's the housekeeping. What about in terms of building then on, say, LinkedIn, where I'm hoping you haven't made any silly comments. Like, how can they start to build?
No, it's nowadays, which we can talk about a bit later. Network is so important. So once you decide, okay, this is the career that I want to grow or I want to head towards, build that network around that space, and then your resume should reflect on the LinkedIn. Your interest, and LinkedIn does help nowadays, right? So whether you have a profile on Seek or LinkedIn, just match it. Your resume should not be different than what LinkedIn post is, right? That's where it makes difference, right? Then the question is what you're hiding or why you haven't included in the resume. LinkedIn, on the other hand, has much more options like asking for feedback, recommendation. So get those on this system.
Yes.
So that would show, then this individual has worked and there's a reference or seek feedback on that. So that also helps.
Now, if you're wondering if your degree gives you the upper hand in getting to pharma, click here to find out.